Welcome to MindNotes Oracle DB YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss about multi-branch pipeline project, how to configure it step by step in detail. Also, we are going to see how to use that Jenkins replay and restart from the stages. So how to use and what is the use of that particular those two options, everything in detail. The next thing is, in the previous video we have already covered about what is a pipeline and how to use the pipeline and what are the situations we have used the pipeline. All the details we have covered in the previous video. Now the prerequisite to understand the multi-branch pipeline is we have to understand that pipeline, how it works. Then only we can understand about the multi-branch pipeline. So let's see what is a multi-branch pipeline in Jenkins. A multi-branch pipeline in Jenkins is a type of Jenkins pipeline that automates the process of building, testing, and deploying code from multiple branches of a version control repository. Also, it is handy in the environments where development occurs on different future branches, bug fixes, and dev branches, or all other long-lived branches. So what is the purpose of the multi-branch pipeline? The main purpose of multi-branch pipeline is to automatically create and manage separate Jenkins pipeline jobs for each branch in your version control repository. This eliminates the need to manually create and maintain individual Jenkins jobs for each branch, which can become cumbersome as your code base grows. Then we can see how does it works. Configuration. So we have to configure the multi-branch pipeline by specifying the Jenkins, and we have to provide that repository URL and configure that source code management either Git or GitLab. And we have to give that credentials, everything we have to provide that. Then the branch deductions. So the branch deductions scans from the repository, which means whatever the branch or resides on that particular repo. Sometimes we had a branch name called master, dev, stages, releases, bug fixes. So those kind of branches has to deduct automatically. And in case anything happen on that particular branch, so it has to automatically reflect on our pipeline. Also, the job creation. For each job creation creates a separate pipeline job that allows us pipeline definition specified in the Jenkins file located within the branch. The Jenkins file contains the instructions of testing, building, and deploying the code. Also, we have to the next stage is like execution. Whenever the changes were pushed from the branch, Jenkins automatically trigger that corresponding pipeline for that branch, and the Jenkins file is executed, performing the tasks such as compiling a code, running a test, and generating artifacts. The next thing is reporting. The pipeline jobs progress and results were to displayed in the Jenkins user interface. This includes the information about build status, test results, and any errors during that job execution. Also, it has to notify the failure during the pipeline execution. And the branch cleanup. Sometimes if the branch were deleted or no longer exist in the repository, Jenkins will deduct this particular branch which is not available or no longer exist. So, and it clean up corresponding the pipeline, ensuring that Jenkins instance remains that and organized. As a simple definition of multi-branch pipelines, simplify that the management of continuous integration and continuous delivery process by automating the creating and management of Jenkins pipeline jobs for various branches. This approach particularly beneficial in projects with multiple contributors working on the different branches simultaneously, as it helps that changes in the all branches are continuously integrated, tested, and deployed. Which means, let's take an example. You are working in that one particular project. So there are different type of dev teams are there. Some team is working for the new releases, some team working for the bug fixes, and another one is they are giving that stage test, whatever the build is ready, right? They are going to test on the stage. So each and every team has to create that their future, or they have to update the codes on their respective brands, so that the branch should segregate their work and releases should not reflect each other. Also, whatever the changes would happen, those changes would reflect on that. Let's see what is a replay in Jenkins. So sometimes in the real time, actually you want to add some codes. As you know, like in the pipeline, we are using either Groovy script or like some declarative pipeline. In that Groovy script, you want to add a particular node, but you are not sure whether the code is going to work or not. But instead of that, you are directly going and changing in that Bitbucket or that repository and the Jenkins file. You can just test the code from the last previous build. You can just use the replay option and you can just add the code and you can just execute it whether it is success or not. So this option is very handy to test our codes instead of just adding that our code how it is going to work and all without knowing it. Instead of testing and updating that existing file, we can just and we can get the confirmation, then we can use this, we can update the code commit into that repo. Also, there is a one more feature is called like a restart from stage. So what it will do in the sense, so for example, you have like a different type of stages like a build, source code, verifying and testing, and last is like a deploy. So in this scenario, some jobs may be failed on one particular stage. Let's take our example. In that one, I have initiated a pipeline. So that pipeline, first it went to the source and then verifying that code. After the code verification, it's testing. When it comes to the deploy, it got failed due to some error. Now, I don't want to execute that rerun of entire stage once again. So instead of that, where it was exactly failed, I can use this option and I can directly go to that particular stage and I can execute that build. So it avoids that previous runs and it can just focus on that particular thing. Let's go back to that dashboard and we can see that hands-on all that thing in detail. So first I have to take my this public DNS, because since our Jenkins was hosted in that AWS, so I will copy here and I have to provide that 8080 port number. So it provides our like a Jenkins page. So I have to provide my credentials. I just provide that keep me signed in. So now it's successfully logged into that my Jenkins. Now when we are going to add a new job or new thing, we have to know, like in the dashboard you have to select that new item. So here I am going to use like multi branch pipeline demo. So once you have provided, we have to select that option name called like multi branch pipeline. So after that you have to provide that OK. Now you have to provide that what is the display name. Here actually I am going to use that same display name as also here, and the description is like, I'm just going to say like this is a sample multi branch pipeline demo. And you can see that there is a name called branch sources, which means whatever the projects you are going to build, you have to mention here. So you can just select this option. It shows like a Git and GitHub, and you want to like a single repository branch. So since we are going to use that Git only, so I have provided, I have selected that option. Now I have to go back to my repository and I have to just copy this Git repo URL. So I have copied and have just pasted here. After that, we have to provide the credentials of this particular Git repo. So these credentials can be like multi-branch, in the sense if you want to dedicatedly allocate on that particular repo, you can just go to that credentials and you can add that secret and you can provide. So right now we are just using for the demo purpose, we are just updating this one. And this is the behavior, which means it will discover the branches on the repository. So for example, in this repo, we had like 3 branches like master, dev and future. So on that these 3 branches has to like discover. So how you are going to do that? So I am going to use that filter by regular expressions. So this regular expressions, what it will do? It will do like dot hashtag, which means it's a Java regular expressions. These Java regular expressions, like whatever the names are like exactly matched, and it will like right now it's search all the branches, and it will provide. In case if you want to provide any particular thing, it will show. So we can see that thing in later. Right now I have provided that regular expression here, and you can just scroll down. So here actually the build configuration, which means based upon the Jenkins file, whatever the instructions you are going to pass to for the particular job. So wherever the Jenkins file were located, those branch it will work. For example, you can just go to here. So in my master I had a Jenkins file, and in dev branch also I had a Jenkins file. So you can go to and verify in the future as well. So in future I don't have the Jenkins file, I just have renamed for the testing. So as of now we have a 2 Jenkins, in that 2 branches we had a Jenkins file, which is directly located under the particular branch itself. Now we don't want to provide any path. If in case like it's in another directory, or like somehow you have to provide that exact path. So right now under that particular branch itself, Jenkins is available. This can multiple pipeline trigger, I will discuss later. Now you can just scroll down. So you don't want to provide anything, you can just give that apply and save changes. Now you can just go and scan it manually, because we haven't enabled any triggers. So due to that we have to do it manually. Now once you have done, you can just verify that pipeline log. So here you can see that, so it refers all the branches, which means you can see I have shown you like the future, master and dev, those 3 branches were being shown here, and it says like the Jenkins file not found. So what will happen if the Jenkins file found? If the Jenkins file is not found, what will happen? Just a second, I will just show that what will happen if the Jenkins file is found. So these 2 branches had the Jenkins file, so that these 2 branches has been executed and shown, even though we had a future branch at that scanning, but due to the Jenkins file were not present on the particular file, it was just ignored it. So you can just go to this master, and that build was successful. You can just refer this console output. So it has been like you can just refer also what are the instructions we have provided here. So here actually what we have done, in that source we have just cloned that git, and the stages were like version checking, and we done that dependency install. So you can just go back here to that master. So like it seems like it cloned that, and also you can just refer that the next source. So it's like it's install that required file, so that it verifying that the next stage it's a version, it's versioned, you can see that, and the build demo, it's install that all the dependency of required one. So it's showing a success. Now you can just go back to here, and you can just have a look on that dev branch too. So in the dev branch, if you want, you can just go and verify the console, or else you can just see that stage wise what exactly happened. So this is that another stage. In that stage actually source. So in that source also actually similar, like we have externally passed this one, right? So it was like just clone that git, and you can see that version logs. So it provides that what is that version of this one, and also you can see that what is the exact message where check that Python version. So that print message is like this one, whatever we are passing in the echo, right? That one, that shell script, in the sense whatever the script we are passing, that script output are in that logs. So you can just go back to that build. So in that build you can see that the print message is demo build, and you can see that all the dependency were successful, and deploy, you can see that logs. So demo deploy, so like all that output of that particular Python file. So this is the dev branch, right? So this we can see that output of that particular logs, we can see this way as well. So you can use like this console output as well. So here if you are going to see that console output, you have to see that each what is the build and what is the output and everything, you have to refer it manually. But if you are go and verify in that pipeline, it could show the status of each stages, and you can see the result in the logs as well. So now we are good with that. Now what we have to do, so the next thing is we done that manually scan each and every time, right? So I want to create another branch. So let's go back here. So I will create another branch. So this branch I could say like releases. So I will create. So it will ask like where the source you want. So I can just say like from master. So I have to provide the name once again. Release branch. So now you can see that we have like almost 4 branches in our Jenkins repo. So you can see master, dev, future, and release. Now what I have to do, I have to just do the manual scan. So once you've done the manual scan, you can see that. So first you have to verify the logs. Since the future doesn't have that pipe Jenkins, so other 3 branches had that Jenkins file. So it consider that particular branch, even though you can just go back to that. See that branch release also it's showing here, right? Now we done this one, right? It's a painful process, like you don't know when the developer will do the commit, and you cannot do like every maybe the commit would happen like every minute or 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes. It's like a painful process. You every time you will just go and do that scan the multi-branch pipeline now. So it's like a painful process. So what we can do, you can trigger that process by automatically. There are 2 ways. One is like a push notification. Another one is like a polling. So what is a push notification? The version control notifies the Jenkins of a new commit, which means whatever the changes you are done on that Git repo, those changes has been pushed to the push notification. So for this, what you have to do, you have to configure that webhook on this particular repo to Jenkins. As well as the polling is like you are just scheduling like a cron job, like every minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 1 day. It depends upon that. So we can just see that how to create or like how to configure that webhook. So for the push notification, what I have done, I have just go back here, just to see that webhook. So this webhook was already present, but every time like our Jenkins URL is changing, right? So what we have to do, we have to just copy this URL to 8080. Either you can just create that new one, or else you can just modify that, or else you can just modify this URL till here. So what I will do, I will just replace this URL I will say that just to push to all the events. So I will select that just push the all event, and you can update that webhook. So once you have done, you can just refer this webhook. So it will take hardly 1 or 2 minutes. Then it has to provide the green tick mark. Your repo has been integrated with the Jenkins. Whatever the changes you are doing, those changes has been pushed to your Jenkins. Like just I will go back to that my repo. Right now we have taken that all the branch from that. Jenkins file is a copy of the master branch, right? So since if I am going to add something on the dev branch, so those changes would not reflect here. So what I need to change here, I have to use that checkout SEM. So what it will do, whatever the changes would happen here, those changes actually would display on our would reflect that particular thing into that here. So now I will add a new file over here, Jenkins. I would say like test 3 just to do the commit. So create a test 1 2 3, right? Now you can just go back here. Third, scan multi-branch, right? So this option we have to select in our environment, like based upon like so I would say like this is that one. So if you are scheduling this one, it will automatically scan your branch and it would say like whatever the changes you have done, right, it will reflect over here. So you can just go back to that pipeline. So you can see that. So you can see the output. Just don't take it. So since you've done the commit, this thing will be shown here, right? So let's go back to the Jenkins. We can add a new file. Say that this is we go to release line. So here it says like Jenkins demo test. Say like right. So once you're done, and just for wait for some time. Right. Yes. See, it automatically triggers that particular job. So you can just go back to the console and see that what is the commit message we done. Create demo.test, right? So this file has been updated here. So this is how you have to do that automatic scan. In case I have just renamed this Jenkins file, right? So I would say like this file name equals to -old. Okay. Now just renaming to this one. So once you're done, you can just go back to this here and see the logs. So see, before it was say like the Jenkins file was found, so doesn't meet the criteria. Now you can just go to the demo, that branch entirely removed from here since the Jenkins file was not available. So you have to make sure whatever the branches you are looking out, right, for that multi-branch pipeline, that branch should maintain that Jenkins file. Otherwise, that branch would be automatically removed from here. So I would say like just I will rename here as cities old. Now you can do the changes. So once you done the commit, so you can just see that log. So that log actually, so release internet, right? Just wait for it. See, so once the Jenkins file were found on the release branch, it was showing, right? Now what I will do, I will just update that. I don't want to do that all the changes on that particular thing. So I would say like master and release. So these two branches enough. Whatever the changes would happen, right? These two branches is enough. So you can just see during the checkout, like it will refer the 4 branches. But once I have updated the criteria to the master and the release branch, these 2 branches only it will show here. So you can just see here as well. So that even though we had a div, and the div actually contains the Jenkins as well, but the filter by the regular expression we have provided, right? I just need the 2 repos, so that 2 repo actually it's showing here. Okay, so this is how that multi-branch pipeline will work. Now we are going to see that how that replay will work here. Okay, now I want to verify one thing. So like I just want to add some more thing, like so instead of I am adding everything new over here, I just want to test that particular code here. So I would say like this is a replay, right? So install, right? So this is the, so I would copy the same thing. Now I had a doubt whether my code is going to work or not. I am not sure about it. So I will just say this is that deploy, and I could say that deploy, and here I am going to say like Python web scraper dot py. So I've just added that another stage over here, right? Now I am going to run this particular thing. So it has been executing. Now you can see the result, because I'm not sure with that what is going with that particular script, right? So I just want to test that. So I had 3 stages, right? Test, demo, and source. Now I have added the deploy, right? So that deploy would say like, because I don't have that web scraper, right? So it says like this file is not available. So this kind of like you want to understand like whether it's going to work or not, or like you have some doubt, instead of you are going and updating each and every time, and you are just committing on, in case like the real time you have to write that PR, and PR has to get the reviewed, and reviewed, after the review it has to be merged. Once it is merged, then if you find the issue, then it's like a painful process, right? So to avoid those kind of confusions, we can do like this, right? And the next thing is right now we have that another point is like how to verify that. See, right now what are the things are there, like the source, version, build, these 3 things were successful, right? So here itself we can use that what is called web scraper, right? Web scraper. I will just copy this file and I will go back to my to show that they are not. So that yes, it is available. Just 3. Oops. Right. I just copied here. Now I have verified that, so it's fine, right? Now it is entirely executed. Okay, so since I have corrected that particular stage, so it went to source, and again it went to that version stage, this stage version, and went to build again. It's like a deploy, right? So if I am using that option name called, so since the second build was failure, I will go back there and I will say like restart from the stage. So if I use this option, I can directly go to that particular stage. Instead of I will go like 1, 2, 3, I can directly go on that particular stage and I can execute that, right? So you can see here, now I have executed that direct stage. So again it's failure, because you can just see that what is the issue. Here the problem is like that name were some issue. So that file name were issue, that's why it's got failed. So here itself I can just go back to this particular stage. I will show that direct of restart. So I will go back here and I will say call the direct deploy here, and I can just execute. So now this is the build number 5, right? So in the build number 5, can just wait for some time. So it is success. So you can just go here and you can just see that. So it is providing the output. Also you have to understand like so here that error is like script returned exit code 2. So whenever the pipeline executing inside that Jenkins, it have only two conditions, like that if exit with 0, the exit code is 0, then that job got success. If it is more than a 0, like sometimes it will show like a 1, 2, 1 or 2, 1001, and these kind of things are like it's similar. It's a identification of that job got exit due to some failure of the code issue or some issue with that particular thing. That's why it's got failure. So I hope you will understand the multi-branch pipeline. So you can just like, subscribe on this particular video, provide your valuable feedback on the comments. So it will be helpful to me. And if you need more clarification also, I can provide you through the video or like by comment. So thank you for watching.